Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. I'm KP. Nick is here in attendance with me once more because today we're going to be going through our SmackDown recap from this past episode. This is the October 31st edition, or Halloween, of Friday Night SmackDown. So how about we break things down, get into all the action that took place across the course of the night, and let's start with the opening segment, which would basically be commentary, having a little chit-chat as we get things started. But Tiffany Stratton, the WWE Women's Champion, she would be very much a woman with an issue, and she would get into the ring, just storming right into there, and would basically just open up by saying how she just really wants her hands on Jade Cargill. We'd basically get Nick Aldis come down essentially straight away. And he would basically tell Tiffany that there will be no contact until the match tomorrow due to the condition that Tiff is currently in. She was sort of like dealing with a knee injury type situation here after the attack from Cargill last week, so clearly not over that little situation. Tiff has absolutely none of it though, and she once again calls for Jade Cargill, and that does bring the storm down. So she starts to walk her way down to the ramp. She does have a microphone. Nick Aldis, though, not too happy with the situation, does call for security immediately, and they sort of surround Jade Cargill. Cargill, though, does have a mic, and she basically says that a Saturday Night's Main Event, tacky time will be up. Stratton tries to get to Jade, but is stopped by the security before basically she gets back into the ring and just ends up posing with a title instead. So, yeah, a little bit of animosity to begin with here between the two ladies, coming up to their Saturday Night's Main Event matchup for that Women's Championship. And it looks like Tiffany, harboring an injury there, so not looking too good. Maybe that could come into play in the match at that main event. Maybe it won't. But yeah, right now, looks like Tiff's got a massive, massive target on her. We then go into our first match of the night, and that would see the United States Champion, Ilya Dragunov, coming down to the ring and issuing an open challenge, as we, know and love from the past few months on SmackDown. So Ilya Dragunov, he would open things up, and we'd have a little bit of a wait, and then suddenly the music of Fraxium would play. We'd see both Axiom and Nathan Fraser coming on out, and it would be Nathan Fraser who is in his in-ring gear, so it would be him accepting the challenge. However, as they're about to make their way down that ramp, we then get Tommaso Ciampa's music playing, and he just completely walks right through Fraxium and walks straight to the ring, getting up in the face of Dragunov, saying that he's the one that's going to be accepting the opportunity. Dragunov, he doesn't really hesitate here. He sees, all three men in the ring, and he basically says, you know what, Fraxium were here first, so first come, first serve. The opportunity goes to Nathan Fraser. So, funnily enough, Tommaso Ciampa doesn't really even argue. He just completely goes with it and just walks out the ring and just heads to the back. Bit frustrated, sure, but he doesn't really do anything to sort of try and, make sure it's his opportunity. He basically just takes Ilya's decision as his decision. So, yeah, he leaves it to him, and he walked out the ring very frustratedly, but the match does then get underway. So we do have Nathan Fraser one-on-one with Ilya Dragunov for that United States Championship. And this is a very, very fun match, in my opinion. It's very energetic, very high-paced, just pure intensity from a Dragunov. Obviously, he's going to bring that in spades anyway. But just mixing the stars there with Nathan Fraser, who's very, very quick and agile himself, it was really good to watch. I've really thoroughly enjoyed this one. I think it's probably the better of the two matches that Dragunov has had so far. Obviously, you can possibly even include the Sami Zayn matchup. But I think since he's got the championship, I think that this has been his best matchup so far. But yeah, it was extremely fun to watch. These guys put on a banger, and yeah, just had a really good time watching it. It gets to a point eventually in the end where Dragunov does get the victory, and he does retain his United States Championship. Once he does so, we do get a little bit of fallout, though, from the earlier situation between Ciampa and Fraxium, because we get DIY coming down to the ring, and they basically just attack Ilya Dragunov and Nathan Fraser. That then brings out Axiom, and there's a bit of a brawl melee that sort of spirals out to the outside. And then we go to an ad break. We come back, and then they're brawling in the backstage area as well. We then get eventually the situation being sorted out, and DIY and Fraxium sort of, brawl amongst themselves away from Ilya Dragunov. And then when he goes to turn around, we see Tama Tonga, and he has the United States Championship. Nothing else is said here except for a few yes from Tama Tonga. He passes the title back over to Ilya Dragunov, and that's basically the segment over. So yeah, quite interesting. Maybe they're setting up for a Tama Tonga Ilya Dragunov match going forward for that United States Championship. It could happen, anyone's game in these US Open challenges. So that seems to be a little link that I've picked up on there. Possibly we'll wait and see. Going into our next little bit of conversation, we would have Carmelo Hayes one-on-one with Kit Wilson, and a new look Kit Wilson, new gear, new entrance theme. Obviously, with the Elton Prince being on the shelf at the moment, he's got to go into singles competition. So, yeah, he's been harboring a new attitude recently. Very aware of the toxic, relationships people have backstage, and just generally speaking, wants to just try and lower people down a notch. But yeah, going one-on-one with Carmelo Hayes here wasn't the longest matchup in the world. It was probably only about 6-7 minutes, I would say, probably, if that. And it does include a little bit of interference because we get the Miz coming on in to try and play interference here, and it almost works. It almost works for Miz and Kit, because the distraction from the outside does sort of cost Mello for a couple of moments. Kit Wilson hits this lovely elbow drop from the top rope, but Carmelo does kick out at 2. A couple of minutes later, he hits his first 48, and that would be enough for Mello to get the victory here. As Carmelo's celebrating with the referee, Miz comes up from behind, hits a skull-crushing finale onto Mello, and that would be enough to lay him out, and Miz walks away sort of with a little bit of a smirk on his face. So, Nick, our first half of SmackDown, Tiffany, that injury that she's harboring there doesn't look too good for her. Not a good omen, I guess you could say. But Jade Cargill very, very much focused on that championship match at Saturday Night's main event. Ilya Dragunov and Nathan Fraser, what did you make of that match? Because I thought it was brilliant. Hopefully you thought the same thing as well. And then Carmelo Hayes one-on-one with Kit Wilson, with the Miz clearly still not done with Mello. What did you make of our first half?
Yeah, the Tiffany Stratton bit. That injury looks pretty serious. I don't know. Haven't heard any bit on that, if that is an actual legitimate injury, but if they are selling it quite a bit, leads me to think it's not. Maybe just needing some time off, and rightfully deserved. But yeah, they're selling that, hyping that up pretty well, and yeah, the segment was good enough. I just can't help but notice how much weight Tiffany has lost every week. It feels like she's a bit smaller than she was the week before. And if that's just her getting in better shape, great for her. Just want to shout out Jade Cargill, some of those cosplay, outfits she had, the Punisher, and then Catwoman from Batman Returns. Some pretty awesome outfits there. But yeah, in terms of what the actual content we got there, yeah, I felt like it was good enough. Just a nice simple reminder that we are getting that match the next day at Saturday Night Main Event. So yeah, looking forward to that one. The Ilya Nathan Fraser match, of course, was great. I'm not sure either of these guys was capable of having a bad match, being completely honest with myself and you. Yeah, quite possibly the best match. I think the only other match of the week so far that could possibly contend with that was the women's tag team titles. I don't even know that one was as good. So yeah, definitely probably the best match of the week, and yeah, very much looking forward to the next open challenge. It seems like Ciampa definitely has his sights set, as does Tama Tonga. So who knows. The Kit Wilson Carmella match, yeah, that one was good as well. For the little bit we did get nice chemistry there, potentially. Maybe I don't think we'll see any more of that, but Kit Wilson's kind of new gear, new entrance, all of that. I like that. His toxic masculinity character, if you will. But clearly the Miz not quite done with Carmelo. I think this could only help Carmelo. I just hope the feud's not too long, because Carmelo feels like he's been wasted for about a year already. So, give him this good feud. Carmelo comes out on top, of course, and hopefully get him on to bigger and better things as soon as possible. But yeah, decent first half of SmackDown. But yeah, the Ilya US title just seems to be kind of the sweet spot for SmackDown for quite some time, and I assume the presumable future.
Yeah, it seems if there's anything you can rely on for Friday Night SmackDown, in the past few months, really, it is that United States Open Challenge. Every single time they tend to be just bringing up the heat a little bit more, and yeah, these fresh matches each and every week, high intensity, so much energy going into them. They're always such a great matchup to watch. So yeah, definitely always excited for that one. I can't wait to see who's going to be next week. But let's focus on this week still, because we do have a second half of SmackDown still to work through. And we would then go through to a one-on-one match next up between Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. So one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions in action here. Up against somebody who, I guess, really, this is revisiting a feud from a number of years ago. Quite a while this one goes back. But yeah, Alexa and Nia. So, I mean, I don't think this is exactly a technical marvel. It wasn't a fantastic match by any means necessary. It gave me the feeling that we're building towards something a little bit more than just Nia having one-on-one matches with the two of them. I feel like potentially this could be leading to some sort of tag team championship opportunity, maybe, with Nia getting a partner. I don't know. That's just my general sort of, vibe I'm getting from this one. But, yeah, the match itself wasn't anything special here. Alexa and Nia put on a pretty, sluggish, slow encounter. Yeah, it wasn't something I was particularly bothered by. Charlotte offers a distraction in the late stages as Nia is looking for the Annihilator. Sort of has Bliss dead to rights at this point. And then with that distraction, it gives Alexa enough time to get back up to her feet. Alexa does knock Jax off of the turnbuckles and then does this roll up onto her, which just is enough to get the victory. So yeah, a little bit of fighting from underneath, win by any means necessary situation from Alexa Bliss. Almost like a heelish type tactic here, with the outside distraction from Charlotte Flair. But I guess someone of Charlotte's personality and history, I guess she really gets away with it anyway, regardless. So yeah, I wouldn't really sort of look into that too much, but yeah, just I don't know, just the vibe I got from this one, it does feel like it's setting up for something a little bit more. So it has been announced that Nia will go one-on-one with Charlotte next week, so it seems to be we're sticking in the situation. Maybe I'm perhaps right with my theory there, but yeah, it was an okay match. It wasn't anything special. Going into our next matchup after that, this would see a tag team contest between the MFTs and Motor City Machine Guns. So yeah, JC Mateo, Tama Tonga involved in this one, up against Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. And yeah, I mean, this one was all right. It wasn't a bad match either. It didn't really do too much for me, but just generally speaking, it was an okay contest. That's that was fine. The MFTs, very similarly to the previous match, a distraction does help someone get the victory here. And of course, when there are MFTs all at ringside, Solo, Talatonga, Tonga Loa, you got your opportunities there to to really work with that. So the MFTs do capitalize, they distract Motor City Machine Guns, and that would be enough to quickly pick up the victory a few moments later via a Tama Tonga. I don't know what, I can't remember the movie, what he calls this move. Basically sort of like a forearm smash type thing. Like a hidden blade almost, you could say. But yeah, he hits that one to get the victory. And then post-match, you get the MFTs beating down Motor City Machine Guns. And here's where things get a little bit confusing, because Rey Fenix comes down to go 1-on-5 against the MFTs, which doesn't make a lot of sense. He proceeds to get beat down, obviously, which doesn't take very long. And then once that's happened, we then get Shinsuke Nakamura to come down to see if he can test his luck 5-on-1. Guess what happens? The same. He gets beat down as well. And the MFT stand tall to end the segment with, Motor City Machine Guns dealt with, as well as Rey Fenix and Shinsuke Nakamura separately. So, yeah, I don't know. Didn't really work for me this segment. No logic there towards the late stages with Shinsuke and Rey Fenix come down separately. And the tag team match was okay at best. It was fine. So, yeah, a little bit of a dodgy start to the second half. With the main event, the last part of the night, I guess you could say, we do have a contract signing for the WWE Championship match at Saturday's main event. Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes with Nick Aldis in the ring here, and of course with that table in the ring. So Drew basically starts up saying how he can't sign the contract because it's lopsided. Nick, a little bit taken back, says, it's a standard contract. We all know this. Just sign the damn thing. Drew says, well, what if Cody gets counted out or DQ'd? He'll keep the title. He then says how if Cody gets deliberately DQ'd again, he did this beforehand, so he would keep the title in that case. He's not happy with that situation. He doesn't want that to be the case. So with that being said, Cody sort of gets a little bit agitated by this, and he says, you know what? Okay, fine. Well, what about if we add a stipulation in where, you you get the equal treatment as me. So if I get DQ'd or if I get disqualified, you win the title. So it's basically just matching what Drew wants. Drew's very quick to say, yeah, okay, we'll take that. I'll have that one as well. And then Nick sort of, he doesn't really want to agree to it at first. He warns Cody that's not a good idea. Cody fights back saying, you know what, just do it. I don't care. And then Nick says, okay, fine, go for it then. So Drew does sign the contract in the end, despite Nick Aldis's apprehensions. And once he does sign it, he calls out the fans for cheering on corporate Cody. Drew calls himself then the real American Dream after comparing their paths over the years and what Drew took to come back to WWE, saying that actually he is the American Dream himself. He highlights Cody Rhodes basically looks down the paths as well before saying there is one difference between the two men and how they got to WWE. When he had to leave, he had the balls to leave himself rather than just waiting around to be fired like Drew did. Cody does look to leave the ring moments after that, but Drew does stop him. McIntyre then saying, he just brings up Cody Rhodes' daughters, basically just asking what their names are. And that sort of gets Cody a bit heated. Then a brawl breaks out between the two of them, ends up with the championship coming back into play. Cody looks to smash the title against McIntyre, but he does miss it, gets a Claymore, and then gets powerbombed through the table to end the show. So yeah, you know, you can look into the the man standing at the end of the show normally means he's going to lose the big match coming up. Maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. But again, I think it's 2 weeks in a row Drew McIntyre has to tool over Cody Rhodes. She's been very much in favor of the challenger recently. But yeah, Cody left on his back at the end of the show, and that's our second half of SmackDown done. Nick, definitely a big difference in terms of first half and second half here. What did you make of our second half? Alexa and Nia, the tag team match, and then the contract signing.
Yeah, like I said earlier, the highlight of the show, and you know, definitely the show, maybe the week, was that Ilya Dragunov match. Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. Yeah, I don't know. It obviously Jax took control most of the match. I don't really, you know, Charlotte's gonna face Nia next week, but these are the tag team champions. But I'm not sure exactly what they're doing here, unless Nia has another, uh, you know, someone else that she's gonna have help her. I don't know who the hell that would be though. But yeah, it just feels like it's just kind of random and very fitting to the episode overall, and it just feels like a very go home show for right before a PLE, and that's kind of what this kind of whole episode kind of felt like to me. Uh, but yeah, before we get into the next tag match, they did have the bit there where Ray Phoenix kind of stands up to Talatanga from last week's issues. So I thought that was a pretty cool segment, you know, showing you know, no fear. You know, it probably comes by that naturally. But yeah, I thought that was a cool moment, kind of help him build some character. Ray Phoenix, obviously, biggest issue is probably that lack of character. So good to see that. But then that's obviously short lived as the MFT MCMG match, which was also very short. Felt like most of the matches here tonight were. Just didn't quite have enough time. Felt like as soon as they got going, it was done. So obviously MFT getting the win here. And then after the match, you know, inflicting some more punishment, and then Ray Phoenix and Shinsuke come down because, you know, that would definitely work. You know, 5-on-1, that definitely would play out in their favor. And I think this is one of the biggest reasons why pure baby faces just don't work anymore, because they just for some reason just cannot use their brain. You know, in that situation, obviously not going to work. I'm not 100% sure. It seemed like NFT is definitely headed for Survivor Series. But it feels like they're playing a lot of these other guys kind of, maybe that's just kind of a buffer. And then after Saturday Night Main Event, we'll get maybe that big reveal of what that's going to be. You know, obviously feels like the foundation has been laid, but I guess we'll have to wait and see exactly what they're going to do. But I imagine Wyatt Six will have something to say about all the shenanigans they've been causing. And then, yeah, another contract signing. Feels like we've been there, done this a couple of times at least. I feel like I was having deja vu. The only thing that kind of was super memorable to me in this, the orange suit was pretty cool. I liked Cody's orange suit. But then, yeah, everything else that was kind of said. I will say this: Drew does have a way of getting under Cody's skin. I feel like quite unlike anyone else. Drew just seems to have his finger on what makes Cody kind of blow up. And so, like I said in the predictions video, I do think this event, this rivalry is going to go, beyond Saturday Night Main Event because it just feels like he is kind of the key to maybe turning Cody heel. Cody's definitely showing signs of being more aggressive, and so maybe that is where we're going. But for this contract signing in itself, yeah, as you mentioned, the go home curse. Drew standing tall once again, but clearly has something on Cody because Cody can't seem to, ignore anything that Drew says. Drew very much knowing how to get under his skin. So yeah, definitely not anything groundbreaking here, but Drew standing tall for whatever that was worth. But yeah, overall, like I said, kind of alluded to earlier, this was definitely felt like a go home show vibe. Uh, Outside of the U.S. title match, I think you could argue this entire episode was just kind of there. Definitely taking a step back in terms of the progress that SmackDown had been making, in my opinion. I think I'd give this one a 6.5 out of 10, and that feels a bit generous even. But yeah, definitely not the best episode of SmackDown we've seen for a while. So definitely on the weaker side.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It was on the weaker side here. I think the first half did start pretty strongly, and then it just sort of, I don't know, petered out into a little bit of a, I don't know about a mess, but just not really anything of noteworthy, really, to be honest. Just a couple of things that just for me didn't really sit right, and yeah, I don't know, just a bit of a weird one to take in, really. And like you said, you mentioned it felt like a go home show. It pretty much did, to be fair. Yeah, I think that's a really good way of describing it because it exactly was that. So yeah, I think they got a bit of a work to do here. It was a weaker one after a couple of weeks that I thought really the quality did increase a bit. So kind of a shame here. I gave this one a 6 out of 10. I think just Ilya just carrying the show here with Nathan Fraser. If it wasn't for that match, this one's probably one of the worst SmackDowns, probably in a long time, with not really anything of noteworthy happening. So yeah, unfortunate, but I guess it is what it is. Just got to take it for what it was. So thank you very much, everybody, for tuning into our recap for SmackDown. That's everything gone through and discussed. If you like what we did here, then please consider hitting a like on this video, subscribing to our channel, and keeping up with future releases coming out very, very soon. We're uploading stuff all the time, keeping ourselves pretty busy. If you have anything to say about this one, whether you agree, disagree with us, let us know in the comments what you thought. We'd love to hear exactly what it is you're thinking, and maybe what you think of the current, situation here on Friday nights, because the show is a little bit up and down. Let's be fair. But for now, this has been The Push with Nick and KP. We'll see you all again next time. Take it easy, and goodbye for now.